there.
Mhm.
And they brought me back, where everybody was. So all the bands were back there. And I was like in their locker room, before they were about to go on. And we start talking. And strategically, I made sure that that week I was posting a lot of music.
Mm.
And I had released a song not that long ago that I reposted a music video for, and I was tagging the band and their lead singer in my stuff, and he saw it. So when I got there, and my look is kind of recognizable, it was much more green at the time than it is now, but I have green hair and dark features, like you notice it, right?
Yeah.
So when we got there, and he was like, "Hey, you look really familiar. Are you that girl that I've been seeing on Instagram lately that was singing the song? You did that Chris Isaac Wicked Game cover." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So then he
Bright lights, you can see them flashing now. Groupies drooling, I guess you see them more now. This is all I know, trust me that I do it well. You can ask Nas, he'll say it ain't hard to tell. All my life, they said I was an underdog, but every time I get the rock, you see that I can score. I'm a winner, cause shawty, I done lost a lot. I just stay mean, you can see some bits of pop. Round them up, and you can watch me break them down. I heard them laugh before, you can see who's laughing now. They talked about me, now they claiming that they love me. Call me many things, promises cause they don't know me.
All right. You already know what it is. I'm gonna read this because I want to do my girl justice. This is Jess Roth, award-winning hairstylist, international educator, the lead singer and founder of Girl Interrupted that you can find on YouTube and other places that we'll talk about later. But she has a lot of other things that she's great at and does. That's why I wanted to interview her. So, Jess.
Yes. Hi. This is so
Um,
weird. I already told you I don't like talking about myself. It's funny. But I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me.
of course. If you guys are new to the channel, or if you watch the other channels, then you should know that Jess is part of the Geeked Out podcast that we have. So go subscribe to
Hmm.
that channel. But I think we were doing Suits LA review, and afterwards I was like, we be interviewing people on this podcast that are entrepreneurs, that are artists. I was like, why haven't we ever had Jess? It's crazy. So
I don't know.
this is where we're at. So tell them a little something to get started first, Jess, and then I'll go into some questions and we'll let it flow.
Okay. Well, I've been doing hair since 2011 is when I got licensed. I before that was a corporate restaurant bar manager for TGI Fridays in New York. And that was really fun. But it definitely taught me a lot about teaching the adult learner and things like that. And when I started doing hair, it made me really want to become an educator and a trainer as well in that aspect. So I got into hair education probably maybe 2 years after I got licensed and started learning from somebody. And then I got involved with a hair color company and I started teaching for them. And then I started posting a lot more on social media, and then more people found me. And then I started working hair shows, and then more people found me. So now I work for two different companies. I work for Firmisi North America, and I also teach in Canada. I have worked shows in Mexico. I have also been to Portugal. And this year, hopefully, I'll be going to Spain as well in Madrid, but we'll see. That one is not on my calendar just yet, but I'm hoping it will be.
Let's go ahead and
And that's
let's manifest it. You'll be there.
but that's pretty much how I got started with that. So basically I work for another company called Malibu Sea, and they are based in the United States, and I usually work a lot of the bigger trade hair shows for them as well. And so basically what I do when I go to these things is I'm either doing like platform artistry, which is like working on a stage, um and then I also do classroom education where it's like in a room inside this convention center with about 50 to 100 stylists at a time only. And I have a smaller stage in there and I teach 1 hour at a time about 4 times a day.
Okay, so question for you. Um,
Yes.
is that where we met? Like when we were doing the gig, were you at that job or did you had already left that job?
I was at that job when I met you. Yeah, because I was doing that and then traveling into the city to work and audition and stuff.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about it. So this is funny because it's wild. So I don't know if you want to say where you live now. I don't know if you want to disclose that or not. But Um, Me and Jess, or at least I went to high school at a specific location. If Jess wants to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But
Oh, I don't care. Columbia, South Carolina. It's not
okay.
a big deal.
So I went to high school in Columbia, South Carolina. Jess lives in Columbia, South Carolina, which one part is funny. But then fast forward, we were both in New York. I was doing the TV and film stuff, as I've said on this before, and that's where I met Jess for the first time. Is I think it was like a rock and roll thing,
It
right?
was a yeah, it was a music video for Shadows Fall, that metal band.
Yeah, I gotta.
Um,
I never watched it. I gotta go back and look.
yeah, it was I was doing hair for that video, I think.
Which is funny because not only is it funny because that's how we met, and we were both in Carolina, but I worked that gig only because the guy that was running it, Mike Jibbs,
Yeah.
he was doing the gig. Like he was like hired to do to shoot that. I got it from him because I knew him when we worked on Celebrity Apprentice. So he was the jib camera on Celebrity Apprentice. He was doing the jib camera, and I was like his assistant for the camera and all the good stuff. So we got really cool. He shot one of my videos. Um, I'll put it out somewhere, whatever. But he shot one of my videos called Cash on Deck, which he also shot for Yellow Wolf, and he also shot for Eminem. I mean Eminem, Redman, and Method Man. He did the AO video. So since I knew that, I was like, bro, like, I'm doing music at the time. Could you shoot my video? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. He said, I was like, how much? Because obviously I was going to be like, it was going to be a couple stacks. He was like,
Yeah.
he's like, I'll do it if you just work the gig with me. Like you just be the key, like PA, which is production assistant. Like you run everything. Like you tell people what to do that I tell you to do. And then that'll be your payment. I said, so I get to do a music video and I get to work in the music video. I get to be the boss, and I don't have to pay anything. Of course, cool. So I did that, and that's where I met Jess, which was mad crazy. When we talked, did we know each other from Carolina?
No, I think that this was what was so funny is because we didn't go to the same school,
Hmm.
right? Did you go to Spring Valley?
Yeah,
And I went to Ridgeview.
yeah, that's where my
But
sister
like
went.
exactly. And so we kind of knew each other, but not really. I remember being like, you look really familiar. And you said the same thing about me. Like,
Mhm.
it was probably from games and stuff. Cause the football games were always like rivalry games. And like your sister went to Ridgeview. So I know that we passed each other and we did know each other, but I don't think we really knew each
Yeah.
other until that day, which was really funny because I was just out of school, like at a hair school, and I was supposed to be assisting the lead person for hair on this video. But because, this was one of those outsourcing agencies from LA into New York, and they messed up somewhere. And when I got the call sheet that next day, I was the only name under hair. And I started freaking out because I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm literally the only person here. I was supposed to be assisting. This was supposed to be like my jump off gig to
Yeah.
start getting into that business and start learning how to work those kinds of sets. I had never worked a set before in my life. I don't know if you knew that or not that
Mhm.
day. Good. Yay. I had literally never worked on a set in my life doing hair. And so thankfully they were men and, I just had to, style men's hair and they were actually really cool. We were like having beers and like, you know,
Yeah,
chilling like the whole
it was
time. Like they were
definitely
really cool guys.
it was definitely a fun set because I was running it. You know what I mean? I wanted it to be fun because when now since you have experience on sets, some sets can be very boring or they could be very like really stressful. So
No, this one was nice.
I wanted it to be smooth. But it's funny because that was like your first thing, and that was like my first gig as a boss. And, and my boss was me and him were mad cool, so I wasn't really gonna get in trouble if I messed it up. But that's funny. So it was like both our first times of like actually being in charge.
Oh yeah, I had no idea. And they were like, just tell us where you need us. And I was just like, I mean, okay. And I just like, I literally like flew by the seat of my pants at that thing. I had no idea how that was supposed to run. And then I swear to God, because that lead singer had dreads down to his ankles. And I remember that because I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with these? Like, I had no idea. I styled them and set them really nicely. And then as soon as you guys said action, this dude was like throwing his head all over the place.
Mhm.
And I was like, holy shit. So then the problem comes when, I got to run in between takes and I got to towel them off and make sure that they look exactly the same throughout the whole video. So now I'm trying to like retwist things and like move
Mhm.
stuff around. So it was like a really interesting learning experience, that's for sure.
It was crazy because I had locks at the time too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, you did.
So crazy. Um, so you said you were out of school. What initially got you like into doing hair?
So actually, my grandmother, on my mom's side, my great grandmother, she was a hairstylist and had a salon in her house in Bayshore in New York, in Brightwaters, where she was.
Hmm.
Um, and that was how I started playing in her salon from a little kid when I would go visit. And it just wasn't really something that was given to me as a viable career option when I was growing up. My parents wanted me to go to college and like do this kind of stuff. And so I did that for a little while, but I always liked doing hair. Like I was always doing hair even before I was licensed. So when I actually had a stylist in New York that became a good friend of mine. And he was like, Jessica, I don't know what you think that you're doing with your life, but you need to be doing hair. And he took me to my first beauty school and was like, go here, learn, and then you come here and I'm going to teach you how to be successful. And he did.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. Um, that's a cool story because it's cool when people see something in you, like you know that you're cool at, like you're good at it, but you're like, whatever, like it's whatever. But then someone else pulls you to the side, like, look, like I'm not trying to continue to bring me into it, but the same thing happened. Like when I got locked up falsely, and I was there. I had some of the OGs because I used to obviously do music. And, if you've never been to jail, I told Ken I recommend everyone should go at least one for a couple of days so you know not to come back. But
Mm.
usually when you're there, everyone's a rapper. So there's always like ciphers and stuff like that. So I would do something. And then one day, like the OGs, it was like three or four of them that pretty much either were staying there and going back to prison or were just habitual offenders that just continue to come back. They pulled me to the side and they were like, bro, you're really good at music. Like, I don't know what kind of career you're trying to have here, but this isn't it. So
Yeah.
when you get out, you should focus on that. And I did, and long story short, because this isn't my interview, but it's just funny how when people see something in you and then they tell you, and then it kind of sets you on that path to, okay, let me go check it out.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one person, to kind of pull you out of like what you were doing and put you on a path to doing something that maybe you were meant to do and you didn't even realize that you were. And I think that especially with like a career like hair, for example, um, and my husband always gets mad at me when we meet people and they ask me, what do you do for a living? And I say I do hair, and he'll be like, Jessica, that is not what you do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. I don't mean to say it in that way, but there is a lot more to what I do than just like being a hairstylist in a salon. But also just being a hairstylist in the salon, you is very lucrative if you do it the right way. And you have to understand, how to work with people. You have to be able to work with a variety of people's personalities. You have
Yeah.
to be hungry and smart with your money. You have to know, I everybody that I have, they book in advance. Nobody just shows up and walks in and gets a spot.
Oh,
If I have spots like
don't
that,
I
I
know that?
yes, you do. But like I will, post them when I have them because cancellations happen.
Yeah.
But like other than that, that's not how my business works because, if you want to make it a career, you have to plan this ahead of time so that you know exactly what you're doing. The same thing with, doing any kind of social media and like, YouTube channels and any kind of work like that. When you're sponsored or getting that kind of money that way, like you have to have that stuff planned in advance because you are your own business
Hmm.
boss and you are responsible for your own money. So if you're not, creating that money for yourself, then it's not there. It doesn't just show up. So you have to be like a self-starter and a hard worker to do those kinds of things.
No,
Same
definitely.
thing with, music and those kinds of things. You have to be a self-starter and you have to be, doing that for yourself or you don't make money.
I mean, you should be that. You should be like that in life, but definitely if you're like an independent artist of some fashion. Um, Two quick things. One, the joke that I said with Jess, where she was laughing, is because Jess has been in many places that I've been, and I'm supposed to be blondish, but it's never happened because Jess has been some places that I've been, and the hookup was supposed to happen, but then stuff came up. Like, Jess is a bit busy person, so you couldn't do it. Then the one time I thought it was gonna happen, I was in Carolina.
Oh God, it was terrible.
I
And
was
I
in
was
Carolina.
dying.
Yes, I
I
was in
was
Carolina to
so
visit my
sick.
dad. It was Christmas, probably like 2 years ago to visit my pops, and
It was
me,
miserable.
me and me and Jess were going back and forth. It was lovely. I was like, it's finally gonna happen. She's like, I know. I was like, I'm here. She's like, I
And
know.
I was so excited and it
I
was
was
all
like, it's literally like maybe 10 minutes away from where my pops lives. It's gonna be great. And then she got the flu, and
I
she
did
was sick.
though, and I never get sick. And I was like, of course, I'm dying a slow and painful death, and this is why, because you're here. You did it. I blame you.
But obviously it's true because the flu was really bad during that time at that point.
It was bad.
Because I think once you were kind of getting better, and I don't know if I think you said you could do it before I left, like when I was leaving.
Yeah, I was starting to feel better. So I was like, come on, I don't have a fever anymore. Let's just do it. I'll wear a mask.
I got the flu
And then you got sick too,
because my pop said my
because
brother
your dad was sick. Yeah. Mm.
and I was like sick the whole Christmas day. It was so horrible.
It
But
was gross.
that
Ugh.
was that was the joke of why I said, "Oh, don't I know about not just showing up?" But the last thing is, so I love how your husband like he cheers for you. How would he want you to describe what you do?
I mean, I don't know, just well, I'm an international educator. I've traveled all over the world and I teach people how to do hair. I'm not just behind the chair only doing that. I'm helping and showing other people how to do what I do so that they can be successful as well. So, and I win awards like last this in 2024, I was the voted the best hairstylist in Columbia, South Carolina. Um, I've I win awards for my work online at different hair shows that are big that compete all over um, for photographs of my work as well as working like at the shows. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's so much to just say, and I'm just like, yeah, I do hair. And then if people want to ask me more about it, like I can tell them things,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's cool though. I like that because that
I
means
don't know.
that means he's proud of you, and he's like, you do way more than just hair. I like that.
Yes, yes.
That's cool. We all need that person in our life that you know you know loves what we do and cheers for us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
some music.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can go back to hair here and there too because I think they're kind of intertwined. But musically,
Yeah.
did you start like I kind of did? Like I was like a little kid running around like with a Michael Jackson glove, like trying to sing in front of everybody, even though I was a rapper, but trying to sing in front of everybody. Like, did yours start young or did it happen?
Yes, yes. I wanted to be Paula Abdul when I was a child.
Okay.
I have lots of embarrassing videos of me singing and dancing
She
to
was,
Paula
she,
Abdul's music.
she was popping though.
Cold Hearted Snake, man, it was good.
I'm pretty sure I had a crush on her. I'm pretty sure.
Paula Abdul was pretty
And she
awesome.
and she was a Laker girl.
She was a Laker girl, that's right. And you know what? She is a really nice lady.
Yeah.
I met her one time in the LaGuardia airport.
Oh,
I
then
still have I still have the tweet that she tweeted about me saved somewhere in my phone and I posted
that
it because I
means
was so
she's really cool then.
excited. She was so nice and beautiful and
Yeah.
just nice.
I mean, she's really cool because if you can get somebody nice in the airport or out there like that, that means they're really nice.
Well, it was wild because I saw her. It was like I came through security and I was like getting my stuff ready, right when you come through, and her publicist literally just plopped their bag down like right next to me. And it took me a second to like figure out who she was, and then I like internally had like a panic attack, so I said nothing and just got up and like left. And then I went to go get food like a little bit later, and she was in the food court, like right there eating, but she had like all these like, you know, bags around her. She's trying to eat the salad without people seeing her, and I was like, I can't talk to her now. And so I ate my food and then I went to the bathroom to pee. And when I was washing my hands, I swear to God, this is not a lie. Okay. She came out of the bathroom stall and was washing her hands like literally right next to me. And I
It
was
was meant
like,
to be.
oh my God, I have to say something to her. But I was like, this is embarrassing. It's the bathroom. Maybe I'll wait until the hallway. And as I'm like thinking this in my head, some like random girl like pops into the bathroom and is like, I want a selfie. Can I have a selfie? Right. And I was like, see, this is why I
Mhm.
knew that I shouldn't say anything. So, and my phone was dead anyway at the time. So it was just funny because she was like, of course. And then the girl tried to take it in the bathroom and she was like, no, no, honey, not in the bathroom. Let's go into the hallway. And I was like, ha,
Yeah.
I like laughed. And so I walked out into the hallway and she was just like finishing up with this girl. And I was like, all right, Jessica, you're in the hall. She's not out into public yet. You may, if you're going to do it, like, you got to do it now. Right. So I just kind of like walked up to her and I was like, excuse me, Miss Abdul. I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. My phone is dead. I don't even want to photograph. I was like, but I just have to tell you that you shaped my childhood. I was like, I wanted to be a performer and a singer because of you. I just had a baby. I just had my daughter at the time. I was
Yeah.
like, I just had a baby. And as soon as, she gets a little bit older, I'm going to go back into performing. I was like, but I have so many videos of myself dancing to your music as a child. And I just think you're incredible and you're so beautiful in person. And I just had to tell you how much you shaped me as a musician. So thank you. And she stopped and she was like, oh my God, took off her sunglasses, gave me the biggest hug and was like, you just made my day. She was like, what's your name? And she talked to me for a good like 2 or 3 minutes in that little hallway
Yeah. Yeah.
without people before we walked out into the world. And she was like, good luck, keep singing, blah, blah, blah. And of course, as soon as my phone turned back on, I got on Twitter and like, tweeted about it because we're talking about like this was like 2015, 16-ish.
Yeah.
Um, and she retweeted my tweets and said how nice it was to meet me and how lovely I was, in public on social media. And I was like, see, I told you what happened because, nobody believed me because I didn't have my phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Boom, boom. Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool because I felt like the same way when I met Ice-T for the first time on Law and Order. Like I was first there. I seen him. Didn't really do the whole. This is how I am on set, and it's probably because the same thing that you said. I know everyone is just like crazy.
Yeah.
Take a picture. Take a picture. Do this. Do that. And I don't want to be that one that's just like the same way. Or I don't
Yes.
want to look like I'm dick riding. Like
Yeah, and you know what? It honestly, I have had the best interactions with celebrities working on set because I haven't been that way.
yeah. So that's how I
W-
approach every set. So I saw him. We didn't really say anything, but I had already talked to like other PAs, whatever, about like music and stuff, because I had started doing the whole TV production thing so that I could kind of find my way into doing music and acting.
Yeah.
So PAs that were on the show for a long time, obviously they knew him. So they told Ice, like, oh, this dude, he's just here and kind of does music a little bit. So he kind of came up to me and he said, so I heard you do music. So then we started shooting shit like that. And this is why like Ice-T is like one of my favorites. Because not only did we talk, but I did the same thing, like, oh, I remember you like when I was younger, like you're classic, like just the man. And you seem mad cool. So that's dope. But somehow it came up on my mom, like something like my mom loves you, like she watches Law and Order. Because I told her like I didn't really watch Law and Order until I started working on
Mm,
it. So I started working on it, and I was like, oh, my mom loves you. Like she's just like your character, and I think was it Finch, rest in peace. That's what the character of Finch.
yeah.
Yeah, those are her two favorite characters. So he lit. And I said, my mom, she works right here. Like we're shooting today, and he was like, "Do you want to call your mom, tell her to come over and get a picture?" And I was like, "You serious?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, cool." So I called my mom. I was like, "Yo, Ice-T's here." Like he said, "You can come get a picture." And then this is like my first gig. So it was like, well, it's my first major gig because my first gig was an indie, but that was like my first major gig, and it's Law and Order. So I call my mom. She's all hyped. She comes through, and then my mom totally fangirls out. And I'm just like, oh Lord, this is crazy. But he was really nice. He took the picture and he was like, oh, your son is really great, and we have a good time, and he's professional, blah blah blah. But it was pretty much the same thing. Like you don't want to be
Mhm.
that one on set. Like I've done this to mad people. Like obviously, because you've been on set too. Like Will Smith, never had that kind of. That's why I don't have. That's also why I don't have a lot of pictures with like
Same.
a lot of stars. So when people are like, you worked in TV and film. I'm like, bro,
I know.
I know I did, but I didn't want to be that one. You know how long I wanted to take a picture with Donnie from Blue Bloods? Because
Oh,
Donnie,
I got a picture with him.
because you'll know, because Donnie's cool as hell.
He's
Like
so nice.
he takes pictures with everyone.
Everybody.
And
Oh my God.
let's say you go on set and you're like, let's say we start shooting like at 7 o'clock in the morning, or usually 6 or 5, but we're there like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. He's shooting. If you're like his fan and we shoot from then all the way to like maybe I don't know, like 10, 11 o'clock at night. If you're waiting that whole time and you've never like got to interact with him because like it's intense that day, he will come up to you like once he's like done, and he'll find you and he'll be like, all right, cool.
Yes.
Everybody, let's take the picture that y'all been waiting. And he's so dope.
We it's so funny that you brought that up because I do have, and every time it shows up on my social media, I always repost it. In his little pink sweater and his sunglasses, and it was late. It was like 11, 12 o'clock at night. It was late. Um, but a friend of mine, one of her friend, a girl that I worked with, we were out that night in the city, and a girl that I worked with, one of her friends is like one of those like fan people
Hmm.
that like,
That's why I don't like the
they're
word fan. That's why I call my people supporters because fan.
yeah, like they're
Anything.
where they're like there at like every single thing, and the artists like know them by name because they're at
Mhm.
like every single thing that they
Which is
do,
cool. Which is
which
cool.
is cool,
Yeah.
and she's a really nice girl. It's not like she was like a weirdo or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but she was nice. And
Yeah.
so basically he recognized her, of course, as soon as like he came out
A
and
blockhead.
was like, huh?
One of the blockheads.
Yeah. And so
That's what he
she
calls them. He calls his fans blockheads.
yeah, so like, and she was like, hey, it's my friend's birthday, will you come over and say hi to her? And he was like, sure. And he just like walked right over and was like, whose birthday is it? And I'm like, it's mine. And he just like grabbed me and like gave me a hug and was like, happy birthday. And like, took a picture with me and everything. He's like, what are you getting into after this night? And I was like, going home to my husband and baby. And he was like, have a good night. I was like,
Yeah, he's
he
so
was like
fun.
really sweet. Like it was really nice. There was no, I mean, he was just very cool about it. Took the photo, chatted with us for a minute, and then off he went.
You know
But
why? You know why I
he was
know he's.
nice.
You know why I know he's one of the nice dudes. Besides that, besides what he did with you and what I said, is because like I've seen him on set a couple times, and I saw him a long time ago. I don't know if it was Blue Bloods when it first started, or it might have been something different. I'm gonna assume it was Blue Bloods because he had a suit on, but this was like years ago because they had a good run, right? They're on for a couple
Yeah, they
seasons,
were on for a while.
so it might have been like when I was crossing over between like Law and Order because we're independent contractors, so I was going from gig to gig. I didn't stay on something for too long.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So I think I might have did like a day or two on Blue Bloods like earlier, but it might have been something different. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I seen him. And this is I think when I was tired of doing the gigs and I was like all in on my music. I was like, I don't give a
Mm-hmm.
shit. So I seen him and I was like, look, this is crazy, but this is my city. Like,
Oh
give
my God, you gave him your music?
I was like, I was like, I don't care like if you listen, if you don't listen to you, whatever, but I can't be because I've told the story on the podcast. I was in Carolina, and you should know because she's familiar with Carolina. So rest in peace, Angie Stone.
Yes.
Her barber, I mean not her barber, her cousin
Mm-hmm.
used to cut my hair. So we had that conversation, and he was like, "Oh, she's actually in town. Like, if you want to like come through and talk to her." I was like, "Oh, that's dope." And this is when I was first starting. So I met with her, we talked, and then she's like, "Do you have a demo?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Oh." So she was still sweet, she was still nice. She said to keep going, like don't give up. And she was just like, "You gotta always be prepared, sweetie." So
Yeah. Yeah.
so then fast forward, now I'm with Donnie, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm selling my CDs to all these people on set. I'm gonna give it to you. And I was like, if you like it, it's cool. If you listen to it, if anything comes from it, it's cool. If not, it's whatever. But I'm not gonna like miss this opportunity. So fast forward again. I don't know if he was always looking at me on set. I'm not saying he was always looking at, but you know what I mean. I don't know if he was
Mm-hmm.
just like I remember him, and
Yeah.
and he's not speaking to me, or if it was more so of he's part of the crew, but he doesn't talk. Like that's crazy. Like why doesn't he speak? Like it's okay. But it was just always I would look at him, and he would always like look at me, smile, and give me a nod, and then I would nod back. So, but I think it was just like a why you don't want to talk? Like it's cool. Like it's all right. But I was just like I don't want to be that person. Like I just don't. But I've had this with everybody, like Ryan Gosling with Eva, and we did the Place Beyond the Pines, like same thing. But anyway, fast forward, like I said. So music.
Yeah.
What made you fall in love with music?
Oh gosh. I mean, I've just always loved music and I've always loved singing. So anything that combines that, I love. I love musical theater too. I when I first moved to New York, I was doing a lot of that, like a lot of
Mhm.
musical theater auditioning and things like that. And then I learned very quickly that it's a lot different. One,
Mhm.
but two, you could be a stronger singer, and they will almost always, always, always take a stronger dancer.
Hmm.
And I was a singer and actor that could move. I was not a dancer. And so when you're first coming up in that and you're auditioning all the time and doing that, a lot of what you're going to get or where you're even going to be put is in ensemble things. And there's so many people that have been doing this for so much longer, and like you just show up and think that it's going to be this magical thing, and it is not. It is very difficult. But as someone who wasn't a dancer, I was constantly passed over for stuff. Um, and so I ended up answering an ad for a corporate event type band with a talent company that was searching for talent.
Yeah.
And so I went and did that, and I auditioned. And of course, I was in, where they do everything, Ripley Greer Studios downtown, doing those things. And I had to do like a bunch of different auditions and things like that. And I got in to this agency, and they placed me with like a corporate entertainment band as one of like, 6 vocalists that were in this like 12 to 15 person band, horn sections, like the whole thing. They played corporate events and parties.
Yeah.
And that's really how I started performing like in New York. I immediately shifted completely over to that and kind of left the musical theater thing behind. Because this was instant gratification. I did not have to dance, except for like some, choreographed movement,
Hmm.
right? And I was getting paid right then. You know what I'm saying? And I got to go all over the place and sing. Um, and it was really fun. And so that's kind of how I started doing like a lot of band stuff. And so that's kind of how that the music thing started for me for sure. Like working and making money at that, as I did a lot of that for a long time.
Yeah, that grind is crazy.
Yeah.
And like the rejections is
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, so many more no's than yeses. I've auditioned for American Idol a handful of times when I was younger.
that would have been cool.
Um,
That would have been cool to see on American Idol.
yeah, but I auditioned for The Voice, and that's actually where I did the best. Um,
But
I learned.
you were also on Shazam or something like that too, right?
Oh God, yes, I've been on TV shows. I've been on Beat Shazam as a contestant. I've been on The Weakest Link as a contestant.
And you just did a commercial.
And I just did a commercial. I did a Nike commercial that was filmed here. It was
No,
like so random. It was all that stuff is like so random. It'll be like, "Hey, we need an alt-looking female with, colored hair." Um, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay." And I just send them a photograph and they're like, "Want to be in a Nike commercial tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Sure."
you know why I love this, and like this is why I love our friendship. It's because like we're so similar. You did a Nike. I told you when you told us in the group chat that you booked it. You did the Nike. I did the Converse. But
Yes.
it's just like we have so many similarities. It's just so crazy.
Well, I
Um,
think that when you have a unique look like that too, like you have a unique look about you, and it when you're and I just feel like for me, it's like if I'm trying to do something, I never get it.
mhm.
Ever. Okay. But then when I don't care, I don't not that I don't care, but that I'm not like,
You're just chilling. You're just chilling.
yes, like that's like when stuff will come that I'll be
Mhm.
like, this is so
It's
random
like
and silly.
it's like the universe, like yo, relax. You're trying too hard. We got you.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Because let me tell you, like when I did The Voice and they called me, like they found me online and invited me to like a private audition where like I didn't do any of the open call stuff. I went straight to, casting for network. Like if I got this, I was going. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like there was no more in betweens. It was like this and then you're there.
Yeah.
And I did so bad.
Really?
I did so bad. And it's like all they needed from me was to do the things that they saw. Now they're seeing what? They're seeing all of my live band videos online. All you have to do is hashtag them. They find you,
Was it
you
the
know.
nerves? Was it the nerves or
It's something about like if I could just bypass this part and go straight to filming on television where you're on a stage and singing to a studio audience, I'd be fine.
yeah.
It's something about being in that small room um, with a panel of people who don't give a shit about you or
It's
what you're doing,
intimidating.
or they appear to, and it's like you stand there. It's like stand on this X. The camera is here, and 1, 2, 3, go. Here's your mic. How does it sound? Are you okay? Can you hear yourself? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. Like I'm actually going to be like,
Yeah.
actually, no. Can you change this? Like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I always pick the wrong song. I just in that room. I picked the wrong song. And the guy looked at me, I remember, because he was like, this is the second time he had seen me now, because they gave you a second chance.
Mhm.
After that, you're done.
Okay, yeah,
They're not going to look at you anymore after that. They're like, she can't handle it.
yeah.
And he goes, can I just ask you a question? I said, yes. He goes, Jess, if you were going to an A&R showcase in Nashville and you were going to pick 3 songs to sing, would this have been one of them? And I said, no. And he goes, what would you have picked? And I gave him 3 songs, and he just looked at me and put his hands in the air and went, and I was like, okay, I know. I'm sorry. He was like, this is not a us problem. This is a you problem. Like,
Yeah.
you messed this up for yourself, not us. And they can't just let you in. They wanted me there.
It's intimidating.
Obviously they had picked me. I was filling some kind
Mhm.
of type that they wanted, right? But I did not deliver what they needed. And
Yeah.
you overthink too much in that room. And I relied so heavily thinking about, I wanted them to like me so bad, and at this point I really just don't give a shit anymore. And I'd probably do better now if I tried, but
Yeah.
I probably won't ever again. But I could. I just won't.
Yeah, it's very intimidating. So,
It's scary.
um, because I'm pretty sure, because I know we had to get interviewed for the Converse thing. I'm pretty sure I bombed because you get in the room and it's like you said, like I got to be so cool. But then again, I got to be not so nonchalant.
Right.
I got to feel like I
But
don't want this, but I really
they
do.
already wanted you, and like
Mhm.
all you had to do was give them yourself,
And
you know
you turn into someone else.
Exactly. It's so weird. But that's why I keep getting on these game shows. Like, people have called multiple times for other shows too. And then it's like, "Oh, well, you already did this, so we can't use you," or whatever. But like, it's because it doesn't have that same like stress level.
Yeah.
And so they get to see the exciting part of you, like the fun part of you, your personality that's cool, something that will make good TV.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you're just like, you kind of clam up and you try to do too many things, or you work too hard to like not be a certain way, and it just messes it up.
But it,
Um,
but it makes sense because I tell you this with the geeked out. So that's why I always want you to be on there. I say because I say you're such a personality, like you're cool to watch.
Thank
So
you.
so they probably see the same thing. Um, when did you sing or do something musically where you were like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm nice. I can do this.
Um, what do you mean?
Like where you really felt the confidence, like how would I describe it? Like I want to be a rapper. Not now, but I'm just saying like if I want to be a rapper and I'm like making songs, like there's got to be a point to where you're like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely nice. Like I can compete. So when
Well,
did you sing or where were you and you sung or something happened, you're like, "Oh, I'm actually good."
um, well, I don't really. I don't know if I have something that made me like, maybe like that, but I do have something that happened to me in like 2019. So not that long ago. But that really made me be like, yeah, like I can do this, and I definitely could have done this had I done things,
Mhm.
in a different way, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Um, so there is a rock band called Bad Wolves. And they're still popular now. They have a new singer now, and they're doing really well. But at the time, they were like kind of just coming to fame. They did a cover of Zombie by the Cranberries. And Dolores O'Riordan, the lead singer of the Cranberries, was supposed to be on that record with them. And that was when she died. She died, during that whole process. And the guys actually, she died in like 2018 when they were recording, but the guys were still able to, release the song, and they donated the proceeds from that single to her family.
That was nice.
Um, and it became like a really big like radio hit single. It was like a resurgence for Zombie, sung by like a male fronted like metal band, and it was a really cool track. And so anyway, that's how I found them, and I really liked them. And a friend of mine who was in radio at the time, they were coming through Columbia, and I was like, "Hey, girl, hey, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna pull the friend card and be like, if they are going to do any kind of meet and greets, I would love to go see them. So it was them, a band called Five Finger Death Punch, and a band called 3 Days Grace. You might be familiar with them, you might
Mhm.
not be, I don't know. But anyhow, she got me into this meet and greet. Then when I got there, I was met by their stage manager and found out that there was no actual meet and greet. They just did it for me on the behest of her. And she
Right.
said, and I am an artist that has been played on her radio station, so it was not a lie. She was like, one of my artists that are local to, Columbia loves this band and she wants to come out. So I was treated like a musician. I mean, I am one,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like, that's not the route that I was going. And I didn't realize it until I got there.
Mhm.
And they brought me back, where everybody was. So all the bands were back there. And I was like in their locker room, before they were about to go on. And we start talking. And strategically, I made sure that that week I was posting a lot of music.
Mm.
And I had released a song not that long ago that I reposted a music video for, and I was tagging the band and their lead singer in my stuff, and he saw it. So when I got there, and my look is kind of recognizable, it was much more green at the time than it is now, but I have green hair and dark features, like you notice it, right?
Yeah.
So when we got there and he was like, "Hey, you look really familiar. Are you that girl that I've been seeing on Instagram lately that was singing the song? You did that Chris Isaac Wicked Game cover." And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." So then he proceeds to tell everybody, "Oh my God, this girl's a really good singer. She can sing. She's great. She's local, whatever." Um, and he was like, "Do you want to sing with us tonight?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Oh Lord, it's Mark Wahlberg, rock star.
Yes. Oh my God. It was crazy. And so I was like, "Oh my God. Yeah." He was like, Cranberries, zombie. And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Do you want to sing that with us to close out our set?" Because they were opening. And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to do that." So, well, they were like the second band. And so anyway, so he was like, "All right," they got me a pass. They gave me, a microphone, and I was literally backstage for like the entire concert. Um, the bass player for Five Finger Death Punch is really funny. He's very tall and he's got these really long dreadlock beard.
Mhm.
He's really scary looking. And he walks up to me backstage as I'm standing there watching, waiting, and he goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Hi, I'm Jess.
Mhm.
I'm singing with Bad Wolves in a little bit." And he goes, "Cool, don't fuck it up." And then he just turns around and walks away. And I was like, "Oh my
That's so
God."
crazy.
Oh, it was wild. So anyway, when it happens, and there is video evidence of this, it is on YouTube. You can see it, and it's on my channels if you want to watch it. It was pretty neat. He literally like walks off
Well, you,
stage.
you gotta tell them what channel it is.
Um, well, it's on my so it's on the Girl Interrupted page. It's definitely on my Girl Interrupted Instagram or on my Jessie Lee Sings Instagram also. That video is on there. But basically he walks backstage to where I'm standing. He grabs a hold of me and just walks me out. And I've got a microphone in my hand and we just start singing. And it was like the coolest thing for like, 20 something thousand people, lights on,
That's
everybody feeling
crazy.
it, like the whole nine. And I just went out there and we just did it, you know? And I harmonized with them and everything. And it was really funny because you can watch it in the video because you never know how those things are going to pan out, right?
Yeah.
And it was like as soon as they realized, like, "Oh shit, she can sing," like everyone just goes like mental, and it was like really fun. So I would say that was a moment that I was like, "Yeah, I could do this. Like this, I could have done
I
that,
mean, of course,
you
that's
know."
that's a hell of a moment.
So, but yeah, I did it. So I have gotten to do some really cool things in my life, but I do prefer, you know, my
I like how you downplayed it. Like, well, I didn't really have a moment, but I guess this is it. That's a huge moment. It's like I said, like it's like rock star Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, or like my husband was like, he walked you out like Bradley Cooper from A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga.
Yeah, and then 20,000 is, or I mean, give or take, but it's
Yeah,
thousands of people
but I mean,
that are
thousands of
listening.
people. You're talking about
Crazy.
anywhere between 15 and 20,000 people
Yeah.
in that place at that point. I mean, it was crazy. But like and I've had videos blow up online before where like I did a cover of The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars, and they took my video and shared it on their page and like shouted me out and stuff. Like I like having these little bursts of like 15 minutes and then kind of like disappearing into the shadows. That's like much more fun.
Okay, so hold that because I'm gonna ask you a question for that. Um, but yeah, that's a great moment because I perform, but we're talking like maybe 45, 50 people. And that alone is like a rush. They don't know
Hmm.
they don't know my words. Well, some of them did, like some like Rook. appreciate you because he used to come to my shows. But most of them, they don't really know you. But when they do, because you're doing a cover, or pretty much, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's a cover. They
So
know
they
and
so
they
they know
sing.
they're singing. So it's like a wrestling moment. So you have like 20,000 people. Like that rush has to be crazy. So with that being said, the question is, because you said you like the 15 minutes and then you like going back down.
Yeah.
Is that something you feel like, is that the career you feel like you couldn't really do because it's so that all the time? Like you like this role better where, yeah, I can pop out, but I want to pop back in.
Yeah, and I honestly it changed really it changed when I had children. I don't know. Um well, first of all, I just don't think I had the stomach for all the rejection. It's a lot and it took a lot on me in my 20s. Now I feel like, at I just turned 40. And
Oh,
I feel like I don't really care that much
yeah.
anymore. It's why I went back into musical theater. I work in musical theater here in Columbia. Um, and I do a lot of that now, and it doesn't bother me anymore. You know what I'm saying? And like I get good parts, and I love working in theater here. It brings me joy. My daughter loves to do it, so I get to work with her, and like it's something that makes me happy now. I know that when I was a kid, I was chasing like this idea of fame, but when I got older and started seeing these women that I idolized get older in fame with children, and then I had kids, I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And that constant pulling and prodding of people wanting things from you, working behind the scenes like you and I have done, you
Hmm.
get a different perspective on what their lives are like. And for me, it made me kind of realize that that wasn't really what I wanted. I like being able to make my music and do things and get good experiences. Same thing with doing hair. Some of these artists are at like a quote unquote celebrity level, and when these people at the shows, like, they can't go anywhere without being like bombarded by people. But like I like that in there, yes, they know me and they see me and we talk and whatever, but then when I leave that venue, I go out to eat and I am nobody. And I like that here as well. Being that, like, even that little tiny bit that I got that, at the Colonial Life,
Hmm.
that little tiny that tiny thing. It was wild. I had a security guard that had to walk me to my vehicle afterwards. And I was like, "Oh, I'm fine." And he was like, "No, baby, like I'm going to walk you to your
Yeah,
car."
yeah,
Because I just wasn't thinking about it. But I was standing in line because I was starving, right? Because I was so nervous that I didn't want to eat before. So as soon as I was done, it was like all of a sudden I was hungry again. And I went to just concessions to grab like a beer and a hot dog, you know what I mean? Just and as I'm standing in line, people started showing up. They wanted photographs and stuff like that. And I was like, with me, really? Like I'm not famous. And like
yeah,
I tried to tell them that, but they didn't listen. Some people had me sign stuff and I got a lot of photos taken of me in that little bit of time. And people started making that really uncomfortable circle
yeah,
around me, which is when one of those Live Nation guys was like, "Hey, I'm going to stick with you and we're going to, until you go back." And then I went back to my little spot that, where nobody else
yeah,
could get, and it was fine. And then he walked me to my car, but people did. And then for about another couple of weeks, I would just randomly be out somewhere shopping or whatever, and someone would go, "Hey, aren't you that girl that I saw?" You know what I mean? And then after that, it just kind of disappeared and I went back to,
yeah,
but just that little tiny bit was enough to make me go, "Yep, I made the right decision," because I don't think I could handle it. Like I totally feel for that girl Chapel Roan. I
yeah,
love Chapel Roan and I love her music, but she was like, "This is too much." Like I love my fans, but like you shouldn't be able to just show up and
yeah.
and
That's true,
grab
though.
me and touch me with no warning. Like I get it. She's not wrong.
I only,
And
s-
nobody asks for that. They're like, "You asked for this life." I'm like, "No, she didn't.
no, you
She's an
didn't.
artist that wants to make music."
Yeah,
And unfortunately, that's what has to happen for you to achieve that part of your career that you want?
yeah. I only smiled when you were telling me because obviously, because I am in the group chats, especially when I go off with marketing and stuff. You should have dropped the album at that particular time when
I know.
that shit would have went crazy. But that's the reason why I smiled. But I get what you're saying. Like, so what I'm thinking is, because I don't know, you can believe, some people believe like in certain things, like some people believe in Jesus, God, all that good stuff. Some people don't. Some people believe in different things like, you know, Zeus and all that stuff. But I say that to say, do you feel like and I'm gonna put me in there because I feel that too. Like, do you feel like we were put in that particular part in our life, like as far as like being backstage and working on sets, for us to be like, like I know this is what you want to do, but this is like what it looks like. And I say that to say because I've told my kids now, going back, obviously because I wanted to do the rapper thing and the fame and stuff. And I like doing the podcast now. Like now I feel like this is a better space. But I feel like had I been successful doing music, I mean I did all right. But if I
No, you
if
were.
I was
No,
like
you
if
were.
I was like him, like
Yeah.
one of the ones that they talk about, I feel like seriously, like, not trying to be like dark. I feel like I would have died. Like I feel like the way I was and how depressed I was and how I probably would have been like on the bottle on some
Well,
shit.
look at people like Juice World. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that guy, had the world at his feet and it didn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's there. You never know. You never know,
So do you feel like we
to be fair.
were put in that spot to be like, hey, look, this is what you want to do, but this is what goes on behind the scenes.
Yes.
Like, are you sure this is what you want to do before we go with it?
Yes, I do. I think so because honestly, I don't know. My as I got older, the I have, a little bit of like an anxiety disorder as well,
Mhm.
and I don't think that I would have done well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like with in that and with that. Um, and it's something that you don't know until you know it. And I think being able to see it from that side, you do get a different perspective because I, like you, like I said, I was chasing it when I was like, I want to
Mhm.
be famous, but you don't know what that is when you're
Yeah.
that young. It's just what you see, and you want the money or the recognition or the status of what that means, like to make it and things like that. But I mean, if you're good at your craft, there's so many of us that are, but if you are good at your craft and you are respected by people, it doesn't matter how famous you are.
Yeah.
People see that, and when you put stuff out like that into the world, like, you're respected by your peers. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I feel like.
No, I get it. Because I mean, I'll still get stuff here and there, like somebody, bro, you never gonna do like another song or album, just something.
Yeah, like they'll think about it, and they think about you, and they're like, "Hey man, my daughter still calls you Chance the Rapper." And I'm like, "Yes, he was the first."
Yes. I do tip people don't know that. I was the first.
I was
Oh,
like, yes. I'm like, he was the first. Every time you pop up on my
cause
phone,
funny,
she's like, Chance the Rapper? And I'm like, yes, actually.
cause funny, I was popping. And then Chance and the Stallionaires came out. So people were trying to say, oh, you're trying to be just like Chance and his brother. I'm like, no, I was before him. And then fast forward, Chance the Rapper came out. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
you're just trying to be Chance the Rapper. I was like, nope, I've been here for a minute.
for a hot minute. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get that because like I was heavily into Tupac. So,
Yeah.
and everyone knows like a confrontation is cool. Like well, not cool, but I like confrontation. Like I'm
Mm.
just, which is why they call me Deadpool because I'm very like sarcastic and all that stuff. So going down that path, especially with me being dark, it probably would have been some Pac Biggie shit like it because
That would be good.
I would have definitely talked back to people and like
You were a fighter for sure.
I would have definitely did some diss records. So it probably would happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anywho, fast forward back to you. I'll try to wrap it up because I don't know how much time you said you had.
Yeah.
When did you decide to found Girl Interrupted?
Um, so actually, you know what? It ties into what we were just talking about before.
Mhm.
I founded Girl Interrupted in 2019. That experience that I had at the Colonial Life Arena kind of reawakened my like desire and passion to perform and make music and sing and stuff like that. And I just kind of wanted to do it on my own terms. I didn't, I was at a point where I didn't want to travel all over the place anymore to do this and play for, a little bit of money, and it just not be worth the drive. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
at least it has to be enough money to be worth the drive. And if it is going to be less money, then we're going to be nearby and it's going to be a bigger crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be more selective with, you know, the music that we play and things like that. I wanted more autonomy over what we did, and things like that. And I have my own little way that I like to make, music and create the covers that we play and things like that. So I found, like-minded musicians that wanted to create that with me. I write some still, and that was really why Girl Interrupted kind of came to be. And I just wanted to make music that made people happy and nostalgic and that I enjoyed. So we are a 90s and 2000s pop rock cover band. We do play into, today's music as well. And we also have like a sprinkle of country. We're in the South, so I have like a little tiny bit, but they only get the ones that I feel like doing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's not that many.
yeah.
But it's fun to play covers because you're always going to be in a place where people know what you're singing and they like it. It's fun and it's good money. It's easy money.
So I have a question for that, and because
Hmm.
I'm very curious. I know rapping. I think it's kind of changed, but I know rapping. If I do a cover of a song, you can't like post it like on social. Like you can't. Well, not social. You can't post like on Apple or Spotify to get paid for it because it's not original. It's not yours. But when
Uh,
but when I
you
see people,
can.
okay, that's the question. Because when I see people like singing and they do it, I'm like, well, how are they getting paid from doing their song?
So let me tell you, like I have an EP amount of uh of covers that I have done.
Hmm.
So there are groups that will license those songs for you. You pay them a fee
Mm.
to buy the licensing for that song. Now, is every song on that? No. But there's a like, Prince doesn't license, didn't license his music. There's quite a few. Mariah Carey, like there's a few that just don't do that, right? But you can put out your version of someone else's song. You buy the licensing from whatever the group is. Like there's TuneCore is a big one, and it's like a multi-distribution type thing, right? Where you
Yeah.
go on there. CD Baby was one from like a while ago. I don't know if they're still
I
there
said, I
anymore,
said,
but
I said CD baby.
yeah. So TuneCore is the one that like I used, and basically what you do is you upload your MP4s or whatever into that, and you find the song, and it tells you whether or not you can get the rights to it. So then you get the rights to it, and you pay them a fee, a yearly fee, and they will distribute your music for you to any of the online streaming places that you want: YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, all of that, right? And so that's how I have mine done. And so like if you were to go on iTunes, you could find my covers that I put on that EP. You could find that there and buy them for like 99 cents. Or you can stream them on Amazon or Apple Music as well.
I think iTunes is Apple Music now.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I don't
All right,
know.
so this
I
one
don't
I'm
pay
gonna
attention.
this what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the auto tune right. And I'm gonna sing some of my favorite songs of all time.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna see if we can get some money off that. The artists not giving their licensing is crazy because one, you're getting paid, you're gonna get paid for that. So it's more money, I would think, of you licensing your music. And two, you're keeping your song or songs alive. And
Well, I think a lot of that too is that they don't own the rights to, so a lot of them don't own the rights to their music. The
oh yeah, the
companies do.
masters, that's great.
You you know they don't own their masters, so that is why you'll see a lot of them out there for you to take. The ones that own their masters and stuff, sometimes you have to go through a lot more red tape to get them if they even let you at all.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like when they try to clear samples and things, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Um, all right, so coming down to the last couple of questions. What made you, is it the family? What made you decide, since you were doing good in New York singing, what made you leave there and say, I'm coming back to Columbia?
Well, actually, my daughter was we don't have to get into it. It'll be a whole other
Yeah.
hours worth of conversation. But my daughter was born with some medical issues, health issues, and so she needed some surgeries and stuff to be done within the first 2.5 years of her life. She's fine now; it's okay, you guys. But so my dad offered for us to move back to Columbia. We lived there for free in my dad's house while we were traveling back and forth to her specialist in Chicago, and we put roots here because New York is really expensive, and now we had two children and we wanted to be able to, buy a house
Yeah.
that had a backyard and that the kids would be, safe there. Things that were affordable and also safe are kind of difficult when you're not making a lot of money and just first starting out as a career and as a family. So it was really helpful, and that's basically how we got here. And then we put down roots here, and we've been here ever since.
I think it was a great move. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah, I don't regret it at all. I mean, I like going back and visiting and seeing our friends and our family and eating the yummy food, but like I'm glad we live here.
yeah, because everything that's happened since like has been great. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that was a great move. I know you don't want to answer this, but if someone landed, like let's say a genie or somebody landed in your house right now and said, "I'll give you one," you could either go crazy with this music, or you can go even crazier with your hair career. Which one would you pick?
Oh, but I can't have both.
No, I mean you have both now.
I have both now.
Yeah. So which one would you like if it was like full throttle?
Um, you know, I think because of what we talked about before, I think I would pick hair only because I worry more about what comes with the full throttle of the music business.
Yeah. I feel that I felt that you would pick hair because knowing you from, knowing you like I know you, and I obviously I don't know all of you, but knowing you from what I know of you, I feel like you're a very good person and good-hearted. And I feel like there's something that comes with making people look good and
I like it.
and bringing their self-esteem up
Yes.
that I feel like you would have chose that one.
I do. I love it. And honestly, I really enjoy teaching. Like as far as like what I see myself looking like within the next, 10 years or so. I mean, I'll always stay behind the chair at least a little bit, but I would love to move more into that education place, maybe do more. I do some independent education now, but I think I would like to grow that brand of myself in independent education, not working for anybody else, working for myself, getting sponsors from these other companies to sponsor my education, but having a business where I am like cultivating and shaping and teaching the next, generation of stylists and educators,
Yeah.
I would like that.
All right, I'm gonna ask you my last four questions. This is the wrap up. So you can be out. Because I already told you before, we probably can talk forever, but
I know.
I know you gotta go. So we do this with every guest. First four questions, things that come to mind. First question is, if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing?
Um, like for a job,
Yeah, not doing hair, not doing like music. If you weren't doing what you were doing, what would you be doing?
if I wasn't doing those things, I don't know what I would be doing. Sitting on a beach somewhere,
Okay, yes, that's cool.
living on a beach,
Living on a
doing
beach.
nothing. Bartending at the local bar, singing with their band on the weekends.
That's nice. That sounds good. In Hawaii.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? I don't know. Lots of people. Are we talking about like music? Are we
Anything.
talking about
Who's the first person that comes to mind that inspires you?
my daughter?
That's nice. That's sweet. Yeah. You have to have
Lots
kids.
of
You have to
lots
have,
of adversity, you know what I mean? And
you have to have
she
kids to
is
understand.
a star in her own right. She's had so many things against her and she just, you
Yeah,
know,
I can see that. Yeah, I like that one. That was sweet. That's probably the best one we've got. Favorite curse word.
fuck.
I, I thought you would say that one. And lastly, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh my God, any superpower?
Any superpower.
Hmm. We've talked about this before too, I feel like.
Hmm.
But I think if I had any superpower, it would be um to fly. Because then I could take myself places and I don't have to rely on airplanes.
That's
And I'm a
true.
control freak.
That's definitely true. All right, just tell people where they can find you. I mean, I'll make sure I put it in the description box, but tell people where they can find you.
Okay, so on Instagram, Jessie Lee Hair Artist is probably the Instagram that I check the most frequently. But also, if you're interested in just music, you can go to Jessie Lee Sings, and you'll find just music there. Also, my band page is Girl Interrupted the Band, and you can find me there as well if you're interested in listening to some of my band's music. And that's pretty much it.
Is there anything you want to tell me that you're doing? Oh, aren't you doing a play now?
Oh, I am actually in a musical in Columbia right now called Hairspray. I am playing Velma Von Tussle.
See, so much to
She's,
talk about. We didn't get to that.
I know. And then after that, I will be playing Paulette in Legally Blonde in May.
So, if you're in Columbia or you want to go to Columbia, That's what you need to go check Jess out. But
Come watch our shows.
she'll if you follow her on Instagram, she'll tell you all that good stuff.
Yep.
Obviously, it's been a pleasure. I wanted to keep going, but you told me you didn't have that much time, so I
I know
already
I gotta
know.
go.
So, but if you want to see Jess again, all you gotta do is just make sure you like this, comment all of it, so we can bring her back again. And I'm pretty sure she'll be back anyway. Or you can catch her on Geeked Out. So,
Yeah.
we're talking about suits. I don't know if she's caught up, but we'll talk about it another time. So,
Yes, we need to.
good
Okay.
stuff.
What if I wanted to break? Laugh it all off in your face. What would you do? What if I fell to the floor? Couldn't take this anymore. What would you do? Come break me down, bury me. I am finished with you. What if I wanted to fight? Beg for the rest of my life. What would you do? You say you wanted more. What are you waiting for? I'm not running from you. Come break me down, bury me. I am finished with you. Look in my eyes. You're killing me. All I wanted was you. I tried to be someone else, but nothing seemed to change. I know now this is who I really am inside. Finally found myself, fighting for a chance. I know now this is who I really Come break me down, bury me. I am finished with you. Look in my eyes. You're killing me. All I wanted was you. Come break me down, bury me. I am finished with you. Come break me down, break me down, break me down. I go against me win, cause everything I am is cause of everywhere I've been. They've been against me, now you see they double up.